before the fire and the fence. Long before Nigeria was called Nigeria, before empires fell and nations were stitched together like patchwork cloth, the land held its own secrets. One of them was a mirror. But this was no ordinary glass. It did not reflect faces. It reflected truth, desire, destiny, regret. It was buried deep within the belly of a sacred forest, in a place where no machete could clear a path and where birds refused to sing. The elders called it Oju Owo, the eye of wealth. Not wealth in coins, but in the deepest longings of the soul. It was said that those who found it would see the life they most desired, or most feared. But the mirror did not lie, and it always demanded something in return. Chapter 1: The Boy and the Goat. The first to find the mirror in living memory was a boy named Kelechi, from a village nestled between the folds of the riverine forest. He was 12, chasing his family's goat, which had slipped its rope and darted into the bush. He should have turned back. Everyone knew to stay near the paths. But hunger makes the heart impatient, and the goat was all they had left. He pushed through thorns, past whispering trees, until he stumbled into a clearing where the world changed. 9 red feathers hung from an invisible thread above his head. The air was too still. The trees held their breath. And there, in the center of the clearing, embedded in the earth like a forgotten moon, lay the mirror. It shimmered without sunlight. No birds flew above it. No insect crawled across it. Kelechi stepped forward and looked. What he saw was not his face. He saw himself wearing white robes, a golden staff in one hand, surrounded by people kneeling before him. Wealth flowed through his fingers. He spoke, and cities obeyed. He stepped back in fear. The vision vanished. He ran home. He never told anyone what he had seen. Not his mother, not his brothers. But that night he could not sleep. And when he did, he dreamed of the mirror. Always the mirror. 15 years later, Kelechi would be known as Prophet Callistus, head of one of the wealthiest churches in West Africa. But even at the height of his power, when he stood in his cathedral of glass and gold, he could never shake the feeling that someone else was watching from beneath the earth, because the mirror had shown him everything, and something had been standing behind him in the vision, watching in silence. Chapter 2: The Scholar and the Silence. In the capital, word of the mirror traveled like smoke, soft, strange, and impossible to catch. A professor of anthropology at the University of Ibadan, Dr. Adebayo Okonkwo, dismissed the stories as folk fantasy. But one evening, at a lecture in Jos, an old woman approached him with a bundle of feathers and a question. If it's only myth, why do the rich keep coming back from the forest with their eyes turned inward? Intrigued, Adebayo began to investigate. He traveled to the region, conducted interviews, and uncovered decades of disappearances, sightings, and sudden wealth from villagers who had stumbled upon the forest and returned. Different. Then he met Madame Uduak, a woman in her 80s who had once been a maid to a colonial officer. She had found the mirror as a child while gathering firewood. She had never returned to the forest, but she remembered what it showed her. I saw myself flying above the world, alone, but free. I never married, never had children. I taught girls how to read. That was my life. Not this one. This one. I only lived because I was afraid. She looked him dead in the eye. The mirror doesn't give you anything. It only shows you what you're too afraid to take. Adebayo went quiet. The next month, he resigned from the university. He was last seen walking toward the forest at dawn, carrying only a notebook and a calabash of honey. No one ever found his body. But a new journal was discovered beside the sacred grove a year later, filled with sketches of a circle and a phrase repeated across every page: "To know yourself is the richest curse." Chapter 3: When the Mirror Weeps. Not all who found the mirror came seeking riches. Some came broken. Mfoniso, a woman from the Niger Delta, had lost her son to pipeline fires. Her husband drowned soon after, drunk and grieving. With nothing left to lose, she walked into the forest barefoot, her feet bleeding, singing a lullaby no one had heard in generations. The forest opened for her. The mirror waited. She did not ask a question. She simply looked. What it showed her was not the future, not the past, but a moment. The one moment she had wished she could change. Her son laughing beside the riverbank, waving at her. Only this time she waved back. That was all. No riches, no grand vision, just that second of love returned. Foniso collapsed beside the mirror, tears soaking the earth. When she rose, she said nothing, but she walked to the village and began teaching other widows how to fish, how to read, how to survive. In time, the village became a hub of trade and culture. But Mfoniso never took money. She lived simply, sleeping on mats and whispering to trees. One day, a child asked her, "Why do you smile at night?" She replied, "Because the mirror wept with me, and that is more than any coin can give." Chapter 4. The Curse of the Commander. During the military era, a powerful general heard rumors of a mirror that could show the future, or shape it. He brought soldiers, guns, even priests. They burned paths through the forest, ignoring the silence, ignoring the stories. Only one man returned, the general himself. But he came back blind. He refused to speak for weeks, confined to his mansion, wrapped in blankets though it was hot. Finally, when a reporter forced his way into the compound for an interview, the general spoke just one sentence before collapsing. "I saw my own hand pull the trigger." No further explanation was given. But 10 years later, documents revealed that he had personally ordered the death of a political opponent during a supposed accident. The man's son, now a minister, had forgiven him in public. But the mirror never had. Chapter 5. The Wealth That Hungers. The mirror began to draw attention from outside Nigeria: Western investors, cultural collectors, treasure hunters. A mining company from Canada attempted to locate it using aerial scans. Their equipment failed, drones malfunctioned, trees shifted overnight, workers vanished. One survivor was flown back to Lagos and placed in psychiatric care. He spoke only in Igbo, though he had grown up in Toronto. His drawings filled notebooks, spirals, circles, and eyes. The company went bankrupt within a year. Their CEO once featured